All right, shalom, shalom, my brother. Oh, we made
Shalom,
it.
shalom, brother.
Yes, 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 sir. We made it. How are you feeling on tonight? Should I say?
Oh, I'm ready to get powered up.
You ready to get powered up? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Can always use that. Looking forward to that. Switch some things around here. I got a switcher, and so we give those that are coming in a shout out to it. Hallelujah. And okay, they are here. Okay, they're coming in the room. That's always good. Alrighty, righty. Okay, all right, all
How about
right.
yourself there, Moray?
Well, we doing good. We getting that good rain, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah,
Someone,
yeah,
they prayers have been answered.
yeah. That's right. That's right. We getting some good rain in that, and we that is a awesome thing. To have that. When I looked at the weather, it was like, oh, it's raining like all week. I guess you have to be a one that live in Texas to understand how we get excited about rain around here, right? Truly in our scriptures, though, truly that rain is definitely something that is blessing in the crops and all of those things, and that's some
Bless.
of the things that we are talking about. We kind of dealing with the seed on tonight, maybe in a different manner, but that's what we're gonna be kind of discussing is about the seed. So, and what seed are you sowing? Is it good or is it bad? So there are several ways that I had looked at this even on today, and I think you kind of hint at that some of the things that you might have been endeavoring to kind of open up. But we're gonna open the can. We're gonna go ahead and take this can opener and open it up and see what we have. So those of you that are listening, I am going down different roads, but I am using the concept though of the seed. So I think that's important that we'll use the concept of the seed, and I'm gonna be going, like I said, using it in different areas. Maybe we can tap into the area that my heart was talking about when it said the good or the bad, and what are you sowing? And in that process, I will use the example. We will try to use the example of the seed, and really what's that's about. Of course, and I think you have brought up in Matthew, and we may even venture into that one too. I think I had it. Well, if I don't have it, I can get to it. We'll venture into where Matthew is at, but only just in short. And what I mean by that, just to kind of look at it, because what I'm about to do here is I'm trying to just uh, get in another area of the seed, and how does that apply in the good and then the bad, and what is the responsibility of that when we say planting a seed. I think that's a very popular saying is, oh, I want to plant a seed, or I'm planting a seed, and it is very good because that's how scriptures speak to us. It speaks to us in such a way, in a horticultural way, that we can receive that. And we know that, especially in the cities, we have a lot of things have changed of growing your food and all of that, and so much has changed. But that does not take away from the fact that we have some idea, though, still at this particular time, how seed works. And so it basically works the same. And as I was looking at it, I was readdressing the seed and kind of looking at some different things about the seed itself, the natural seed itself. And I discovered a couple of things that I hadn't thought of before, but they have always been there. So Power Up is a place that I wanted to, be a thinker in the sense of just, I want you to think of some things, not that I'm trying to bring something real powerful or something real new or anything like that. It's just that we need to just think about some things. And so in that process, maybe I am trying to discover something, another way to look at it. Just you may be standing on the east and I may be on the west, and we will see it two different angles. Where we'll see that two different angles, and but we could be looking at the same thing. And according to what it is and what we are looking at, we can view those things differently. And so it's not that it's something so profound that we have that I'm saying or anything like that. We just want to see how this can speak to our hearts, that we can continue to walk out the covenant, because we are people of the way, and that way is Torah. And so we want to be able to walk those things out. And in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 12, and the earth brought forth grass, and the plant yielded seeds according to its kind. And that's where I want to kind of pour from is, what are we planting, right? What are we sowing? So it is according to its kind. So the seed that you are planting is going to be according to you. This is what I want to kind of bring out. And the trees that yields its fruit, those seeds, whose seeds it is itself according to its kind. And Elohim saw, and he said that it was good. From the beginning, it was good. It was good that we would venture in and sow it in such a way, right? We have to sow those things. So the concept is there, and we should understand that concept. And in our life and in our walk, we need to understand, because each time we are coming into a choice, is it good or is it bad? And so what would that be? So somehow on tonight we can kind of just hit in some areas, and we're going to ask that the Ruach, or the Spirit, begin to develop in your life in such a way that you can be built up, that maybe you didn't look at it in a certain manner. So nothing profound. It's just that we want to just look at different areas of this, and maybe we can put something together at the end. So we're going to take this puzzle and we're going to try to put it together. In the puzzle, you always have pieces, and sometimes the pieces look different. Most times they do, but you have to make sure that they connect in a certain way. All right, in a certain way. So sometimes I may spread out some pieces. Hopefully by the end of this Power Up, then we can, be able to connect some of it, and kind of see what that picture how it might develop. So we're talking about after its kind. There's different ways I want to go with this seed. And one of the things is, let me see if I can bring this up too. Maybe I'll bring this up in Corinthians. We'll bring this up too as well. It has been written, he scattered abroad and he gave to the poor. His righteousness remains, listen, forever. His righteousness remains forever. Now, the good seed that we should be planting or that we should be sowing is righteousness. So I'm just going to just jump right in there from the end. We won't make you wait all the way to the end, but it is righteousness. So this is the process I want us to think about is we should be a people, especially when we're in covenant with the Most High, is we are sowing that righteousness. And he who supplies seed to the sower, right? So the Father is the one that supplies that, right? He's going to make sure that we have that. And bread and food shall supply and increase the seed you have sown and increase the fruit of your righteousness. So what we want to do is to make sure that we are people that sowing righteousness, right? That's what we want to do. We have to be a people that's sowing righteousness, and that's what we are want to do. So when we're thinking about sowing the seed, we're thinking about sowing in righteousness. And that's very important because in that seed, we also want that seed to grow. We want that seed to grow. And we want to be a people that sows the right seed. If we somehow develop or somehow get into the bad seed of this, then we will find out that that's not a place where we want to be. But you only going to produce what you have, you know. So if there's somehow this seed is corrupt, you know, then that's all you can bring forth is that corrupt seed. But by us having that seed and of the Ruach, we should be bringing forth the seed of righteousness. Now, you need Torah to order to build on that because you need that to understand what righteousness is, right? And in that, so yet righteousness was given unto us, nothing that you earn, but you need to know what it looks like in order for you to have it. That's very important. You need to know what something looks like in order for you to have it, right? So if I know, you know, if I know if somebody told me to go down to the store and pick me up a shirt, I need to know what the shirt looks like. You know, say a man's shirt. So I need to know what a shirt looks like first in order to bring it back to you. And so I have to discover what the shirt looks like in that, or you have to let me know what it looks like, right? And so I will go get the shirt. I got the money to get the shirt. But I need, in order for me to know what the shirt looks like, I have to know what righteousness is. So when I come into covenant, even though that righteousness is given unto me, a right standing with the creator of the universe, I need to understand what that is though. And then that's also in Matthew when they're talking about the different seed and how it's planted and the different things that come along, you know. And so I guess maybe, you know, Sid may open up some of that as well, and that'd be fine to connect to this. But this is one of the things that I wanted to express to us is this seed that has to be the seed of righteousness. And it's very important that that's the light that we are. That's how we stand in that. And it's very, very important. And then when we're thinking about seed, so I have a seed in my hand. So I have a seed of good, and then I have a seed of bad is what we are using, say in this title. And now we see that good is righteousness, right? Those things that are right before the Most High. And who tells us the things that are right? Then Yah tells us what's right, right? He tells us right. We don't tell him what's right. He tells us. And then we submit to that which he says that is righteous, right? So, and even in here, in Second Corinthians, it's talking about, say, given or given to the poor right here. When we was reading that, it was talking about given to the poor, right? So we know that is righteousness. If you're given in such a way, that is righteousness. If you're not given, then that's the bad seed that we're saying. So you're sowing the wrong seed. So we want to be a person that sows love, sows understanding, sows patience, So all of those things is what we should be doing, those of us that are in covenant with the Most High. And each time, though, we have a choice in that. But that's only the seed. I was looking into what the seed and how it develops. And as you look into the seed, it's some more things that goes along with the seed. And so sometimes, even though we have a sower, the one that sows the seed, right, is going to take care of the seed. Most times, the one that's sowing the seed is going to take care of the seed. And so this is what we are using though. We're using that the person that sows, and even in the natural, the farmer, if he sows, then he's going to have to take care of it, right? And so you sow, and we realize that now we get the water. So most times our forefathers really had to, yes, they dug trenches and things to receive water as well, but the water has to come. And we was talking about rain earlier. The rain has to come from above. The water has to come from above. And so we may contain that water when it comes, but it has to come from above, right? And so that is essential for that. And so we thinking about what we plant the seed, and I want to go a step further in the fact that the germination period of that and what that acquires, and then what water does to trigger that. And so sometimes we say, what are you sowing? Good seed, or are you sowing righteousness? But once you sow, my mind sometimes go to, I just sow a seed and then I'm leaving that seed alone, and then somebody else, another scripture says that somebody else has come by and water or whatever. And that's talking about the word. At this particular time, I'm talking about a person that sows something and they sow in righteousness. One of the things that we have to remember is once that farmer takes care of it, like I said just a few seconds ago, is he's the one that's going to do the watering. Other words, he's going to make sure from the sky, if you dig a trench, if you contain it, however it is, even bringing it up to today, somehow it needs moisture in order to trigger it. So sometimes we would say, what seed are you sowing? Or I would say in the short title here, but not only do you sow the seed, but what happens is we start taking care of that. And so sometimes we are responsible. Sometimes our motives, and we will start out on a good motive, but righteousness is a good motive to do it. In order to take care of the poor, and we're going to say supply, we're going to say that at this particular time, we'll just say that it's food, right? So in order to take care of the poor, the seed that I'm planting is this. I have the seed of righteousness because the Father told me that I need to take care of the poor, right? And those that are poor, those that are close, the brethren, the neighbors, all of those, right? And so if there is a need there, then I can feed the poor. So the seed is in me to do that. The seed is not in me to turn them away. That's not a bad seed. I can only produce taking care of the poor, right? And what that details, right? That's what's in me, right? That's the seed after its kind. And so sometimes it will lets me know where I am at. What kind of tree am I? Now I'm gonna switch to a tree here. The apples can only produce apples. Oranges tree can only produce oranges. All things being equal, right? So you don't go back and forth in this. You don't have good seed one day and bad seed the next. Overall, what you are doing is you doing righteousness, right? And so in that, and hopefully this is coming a little clearer. And I'm not muddying up too much, but when you come to this, you don't vacillate back and forth. The seed, when we were saying, is after its kind, right? It's after its kind. You have nothing else but to draw, to feed the poor, to treat people nice. That's just there. It is difficult for you to do something bad. So other word, it's difficult for you to have a bad seed because that's not after your kind. When you in with the things of the Father, it will always be after its kind. So it would always be after the thing of the Torah, right? So that's what we need. We need the water, right? And for the initial growth, you need water with that. Now, sometimes in that you could say, okay, I need to go down and feed the poor, or I seen someone and I need to feed them. If you know somebody of the poor, right? And so the watering part of that is the seed is I know that I need to do this. The watering part is really going in and taking the action where that can grow. So that caused me in our day, it would cause me, say, to go to the store. In their day, maybe I could lead the field, the corner of my fields for the poor, and they could take from that because that's what the Father always command us, right? And so we can do that, and they could take from that and feed themselves. In our day, maybe I would go to the store and bring food to the person, or my refrigerator, or have them for dinner. Right? There are different ways that you could do that. But I'm saying is that's you getting into the moisture of that. Now you're getting into the water of that because now you are doing it. Right? So that now you really, really planting that of what you should do, those acts of righteousness. So we should be a people that do the acts of righteousness. All right, brother, I'm about 20 minutes in, and if you just want to slide in there on that, if you have a little something something, is it been clear so far? I guess.
Oh yes, sir. There are plenty of things I think that are coming through loud and clear. Uh, and praise God. Thank you for having me here. Um, so when you're setting it up there about from bare sheet, kind of like the original intention of the seed. When you were saying the seed will bear after its kind, and then I think you shared that awesome verse from, was it Corinthians?
Yes. It was
Was it
Corinthians.
2:9? Yes. And when you said that about it being righteousness, so for me to, if I'm putting it together right, so the seed of righteousness is that thing which remains forever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you want to sow. So then what came to my heart when you were saying that, especially in the process of the seed, you've got the sower and the seed and the soil and the water and the idea of the increase to come after that. So in order to bear the good fruit, if you say it that way, or the good, in order to have good seed, I had to encounter a good seed sower.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you were saying that about the righteousness, so how am I doing acts of righteousness if I've never encountered someone righteous or someone doing righteousness? So that's really what I got out of that, is like, okay, so if I can only produce what I've been shown, or what's been planted in me, if if I've never encountered these good deeds, the good, especially just the sower of the seed, the good seed sower, how can I produce anything good? So that's really what's really striking to me. It's like, okay, well, now that I'm encountering this good seed sower, what should I start to look like? What is it that I'm going to start looking like in these
Right.
acts
Right.
of righteousness? So
Uh,
I'm just, you said with the
right.
puzzle
Right.
pieces, it's
Absolutely.
coming
And
together.
we know that the Most High is where we get this from. Right. He supplies the seed. Right. So if
Yeah.
we are sowing something, then we need to get it from the supply. Most times we go down in our day, we go down to the different stores and get seeds, right? Unless we already in there are some farmers that be listening to us as well, and that's good, and plant their own seeds. But my point is that he's the one that has to be able to supply those things for us in order for us to get it right. And for us to in the natural, for us to help the poor, we need to supply. We need to have food, right, in order to help them. Without the food, then we can't help them, right? We need that food in order to help them. So that's very, very important. So, and when we are sowing righteousness, then we understand that righteousness comes from Torah, right? We know and understand all of those things that come through there, and we cannot sow. I think we said a vineyard. Let me put this up here. Vineyard in Deuteronomy 22 and 9. Do not sow your vineyard with two different kinds of seeds, right? And so I
Hmm.
wanted just to echo that first portion of that, the A portion of that, at least the seed when it says, at least the yield of the seed which you have sown, and the fruit of your vineyard be defiled, right? So when I'm thinking about good and bad, and just kind of hitting that just a little bit, of course, dealing with that is we want to have apples and oranges. We cannot mix it, And so what that does is it helps me to identify where I am, where is I'm getting my seeds from, because when we go over to Matthew, we'll find out that how that seed is being when it comes with the word of Yah, how that seed is being processed, and how the Messiah gave us the parable that's there, and I want to understand that again, it takes water. So not only am I a seed planter, though, sometimes I am the one that uh, does the doing, other words, the watering of it. And I think I'm repeating myself here again, but when I feed the poor, when I take care of them, when I clothe them, when I see my brother in need, all of those things, that is the watering of it. Other words, it needs a seed need oxygen as well, right? In order for it to break this ground and help it to get the proper nutrients that it needs. And so when I'm planting that seed, that's what I'm planting, and then we talking about, like I say, the righteousness in that. And so what that does, though, it provides the energy for the growth of the seed. So when I'm sowing something, I'm also thinking about going behind it to make sure I water it, because that brings me into the doing. You understand? I can understand do not steal, but if I'm stealing, then that's a bad seed, right? That's not the right seed for me to do it. And so it's coming from a different place. And so sometimes there are things that we do that if you are stealing something and you know not to steal, that's intentionally you doing it. That we need to discover what our seed is now, you know, and where that lines up at, because that's the wrong seed. Being a thief in the covenant is the wrong seed, you know, and so you are not producing after your kind. And so once you get an understanding of that, then you'll realize that what I am doing is not the seed of righteousness. So I have another seed. That's a bad seed there, right? That's not the seed of righteousness. And so we don't struggle and steal once we understand that we do not steal. I think sometimes we say, "Oh, I failed and I stole something." "Oh, I got weak and I no, somehow you have seeds in you that are not appropriate for the kingdom, right? And so unless you took somebody along with you, then you be planting the wrong seed. So I need to understand how is this happening to me? And once I understand that, because each time it's a choice for you to do good or to do bad. Now that's really difficult for us because we want to always lean on the post of I got weak or I struggled in what I'm doing. All that you have done, you have chosen to do, right? All things being equal, I'm saying. So right now, I realize that the commandments of Yah is do not steal. So if I'm stealing, that's the wrong seed, because the good seed is do not steal. So that's more than one seed, in that. And so I'm talking about seeds to make sure I get more of an understanding. Is I'm talking about seeds in general. So other words, I'm using, just telling you how I'm using it now. Is in a When I say do not steal, that's one seed. Do not commit adultery, say that's another seed. So I'm using those as seeds that we are scattering or that we are planting. That's what I'm saying. If you doing those things, right? It says keep the Sabbath, set apart, right? So that's a seed. So that's a good seed if you maintaining of the Shabbat. That's a good seed. The bad seed is you not maintaining the Shabbat. So that's coming from a different seed in that. That's not the seed that we desire. That's not the seed that we want. And so, what seed are we planting? Because you can only plant where you're coming from. You can only know those things. So that's very, very important in that. And hopefully that's coming across right without uh, bringing too much confusion about. I want you to understand that we are people that plant righteousness. In order to do that, then you have to know what it is. So if we loving one another, we being kind to one another, those are seeds of good, right? And so if I'm coming with seeds of hatred, then that's not good. I'm carrying the wrong seed in that. Now, the misunderstanding is what I'm just trying to go a little deep here. And my scenario is the fact that once you plant a seed, we are saying tonight that you following up by giving it water. The seed need oxygen, and it also need temperature. You need certain temperature in order for, especially on different plants. Some plants you can't grow in Texas that may grow somewhere else. You can't take a desert plant and bring it to say the North Pole, right? It won't grow right if it's in this natural habitat. It could be in a greenhouse and all of those things, but you need temperature, right? Then you need the light. You need light in that. And then so when you sowing those different things, even though you can have light, and I just discovered that a seed can be exposed to light, but most time the seed is in the ground, it's not exposed to light first in order to get its roots. And I never really thought about that, but that's true. That once it starts to break the ground, then it receives the sunlight, the natural light of that. So it doesn't necessarily need light at first, but it will need light. So sometimes when we come to the things of the Father, we still growing because it's the seed that we grow in our life, and we realize that we still have those little dark spots in us. So we still growing some roots, but we still in there's some dark spots, and those spots need to be taken care of, right? And in order to, and that's another side note, I guess, in order to for those things to go. But we all need those things. So I am talking about not only the person that sows the seed or put the seed in the soil or the group, but in a person, we talking about they follow through. So they follow through in that. So if somebody is seeing something and they said, do not steal, and you take it from someone else, because what you're doing is you taking from someone else, and that's not the right seed, you know. And so you over when you did that, you over. So other words, the good seed said, don't do that. Do not steal. The bad seed says steal, in that. So now what seed are you going to sow? So you come upon it and you see whatever it is that's not belong to you. And then you said that I want to take that. That's not even in you to do. When you're talking about the seed, it's not in you to do. So where did that come from? Right? Where did that come from? I need to discover that. I need to discover that once I understand that. Okay. So that's very, very important in that, because it is very difficult for a good seed. It's impossible for a good seed to steal. Right. It's impossible for that. So what is that seed that I'm dealing with? Those particular seeds don't need to be around. I need the seed of the word as well. All right. All right, brother. Did you have a question or two on that, or a response? Don't want to forget about you, brother.
All is well. I know you wouldn't. Um, okay. I definitely have a better understanding. I see how you're using the word seed in multiple aspects now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's starting to line up, especially when you unveiled this process. And I really enjoyed that in the sense of So the seed, at least in this context, would be like the commandments.
Yes.
And so we would be
Hmm.
doing the word of the Father, which is an act, like you were saying. I'm not stealing. Um, I'm not reaping the quarter of my field or what X Y Z. A command, a positive command. Um, so the Father said, "Do this thing," and then when I do it, especially if I do it, to His people or to people, I then follow up behind it, like you said, with the feeding of the poor. So we know we're not just giving people resources by command, but it's a good thing to do. It's a righteous thing to do. But then we also follow up with this, we follow up with the sense of it wasn't, it wasn't this advantageous thing. Like I actually am concerned. So here I'm going to follow up with more acts of righteousness or more good seed,
Hmm.
just to, be diligent in this thing that I began. So it was seeming as if, like what you were saying, at least what I got out of it a little bit, is that the seed is, it's like a nature. It's like the nature of your behavior, and
Correct.
whatever behavior, whatever acts come out, it's revealing what seed is in you. So if you end up doing the acts to which we have been commanded to not do, or if we end up transgressing the word, or uh, doing the seeds that would show bad nature or evil nature, then that would go to show that the good seed is lacking, and I need to be replenished or be built up with good seed.
Hmm.
Because like you were saying, do not sow two different seeds. So if I've got a mixed seed situation, it's not gonna benefit me. Ultimately, I'm like you said, I'm gonna have to make a choice every time because that other nature still exists. It's like I need to cast that nature out in order to just do the good seed behavior at all times, which would be the command. And then, like you said, it's a continual process. It's not something I just do one day a week.
Hmm.
It's every day, every breath, every moment I get, I'm going to be doing this good seed behavior. And then I think that would line up with like what you were saying earlier about the seed of the righteous remains forever. So I understand it continues on. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. So if I'm close to the context, hopefully.
Right, absolutely. That's where I wanted to go. And I think when we first started off, I said I was going to do it. So I appreciate you because that lets me know that the way I'm chopping it, it gets more of an understanding. I know I take people all the way around the block, but we're going to get there. You did outstanding, my brother. We gonna get
It's a
there.
good journey. Praise
Yeah,
God.
yes, sir. And I got James here, James, and chapter 3. One of the things it was talking about the wisdom from above, right? And when we dealing with that, and then it says gentle, and it says ready. Let me see if it ready to obey, right? And then filled with passion there, right? One of the things, verse 18 is all I want to focus on was what we were talking about. Let me raise this up a little bit. Right here, it says the fruit, and we've been dealing with fruits and all of those things. Fruit of righteousness, right? So this is what we are trying to get. In order for you to get some fruit of righteousness, you have to have a righteous what? Seed, right? And it's sown in peace by those who make peace or shalom, right? So in order for you to produce shalom, you have to have it. You're not going to be able to produce it without it, right? And so because why you produce after your kind. So if you find yourself in a place where you are at, you are producing after your kind, right? There is a struggle with different things, but you must understand that whatever that struggle is, it's producing, and that is not good for us to be set apart. The reason, like you mentioned, my brother, that we can't sow those seeds because it won't be in the same field. It won't be set apart, right? We need to make sure that when we was in that, we was talking about even Leviticus. Remember, we're talking about the garments, the things that are being set apart for the Father. And so that's what we have to realize, that when it's sown, it has to be sown for us to produce righteousness, or that shalom that we're doing. So we shouldn't be a person that shows partiality in those things. We should be good fruit. In order to have good fruit, you have to have fruits of righteousness. Right here. In order to have good fruit, it has to be fruits of righteousness. That fruit of righteousness is gentle. Right there. This gentle. And this is that seed. Where is your seed? It's always ready to obey. It's ready to obey. That's the seed there, right? And so I need to discover, like you were saying, I need to discover what that is, you know. So if I'm not a compassionate, I got it in my hands. I can be compassionate or not be compassionate, and that's always with us. And I think you really brought that up, my brother. I can't say everything tonight, but there's always that struggle there. But the choice to do right, you can do, even though the struggle to do something totally different of not having compassion, not being a person that have shalom in that, and then I was trying to slip in here. This is not the wisdom that comes down. Okay, I just wanted to see where I was at in that. I wanted to let's go over maybe to Matthew 13. And the reason that I'm hesitant because it doesn't sort of line up with, I think, what I'm trying to do here. But I think we can get some good nuggets anytime our Messiah say anything, they're always good nuggets, right? I think we can get some good nuggets from this, though. That's for sure. But I want us to understand, and I didn't want to get away from what we're trying to bring forth tonight, is the fact that we need to realize now, once you are honest with yourself, right, then you can do something about it. You can do something about it and begin to, you can uproot some things and then go. He was saying that I don't want to get all that. The thorns and the thistles, we know about that. Let me go here. Because you speak of them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear and understand. Prophecy, the heart is thickened. Oh, where I want to go here. And then you heard the parable of the sower. And then the reason with that is, how are we sowing? It says, when anyone hears the word, is that up? Yes. When anyone hears the word of the reign, that's the kingdom, and does not understand it. So there is a process, is what I'm trying to say also about these seeds, and this is kind of telling us. And if you was to read this, those of you that are listening or here, that'd be a good time to go through that again to understand the process of what happens to us. Now, what I wanted to bring out here, and I'm not gonna, because this takes a whole lot. This could be many of its own. It said, then the wicked one comes and snatches it away. Snatch away what was sown in his heart. What I was saying is in my analogy of someone planting a seed and then going back and watered it. And then some of the things I was putting in there, it needs oxygen, it needs temperature, it needs lights, it need all that. Of course, good soil. But the soil here being the heart of man. And this, I don't want to, try to insert something. But what I do want to bring out, even in teaching this, is sometimes we look at it as the wicked one being on the outside, but anything bad is going to be wicked. So what happens is sometimes we can plant seeds, right? A bad seed, and we're the one that come around and snatches it out. See, someone is snatching this. When we say the wicked one, it's not somebody running around with some horns on his head. That's not what this is talking about. Is that said the wicked one, right? It comes away and snatches it, right? And then he unexplains to us that that's one that falls by the wayside. So when we don't understand something or we're confused about something, it's easily for us to follow through. So when you have bad seed, it's easy for you to be working as the wicked one, right? Because you planting bad seed. And so just because because it was somebody that understood not stealing, and I'm using that as in a simple form, you won't be able to snatch that away. It's because it says does not understand right here. It says it does not understand it, right? You can't snatch that away. Once I understand I should not steal, there's no more temptation there. I can't steal. That's good. That's in me. I can't do it. It messes me all up. I can't do it. You know, in that, even though my flesh that, well, ain't nobody looking. I can't do that. Ain't nobody around. Ain't nobody gonna. No one's gonna know it. Right. I can't do it. I just can't do it. It can't be there. So that means I didn't understand it anyway, right? So whatever it might be, and I just throwing that in there, it may not be the best thing, but whatever it may be, it said the wicked one. It said it come to I want you to know that I think don't think about somebody running around, with some horns or something. It's talking about the seed of that. Anything that is done bad is wicked like that. Anything that's done against the word of Yah is wicked. Now, it's twisted. I want you to think about wicker, where we would get it from. It's just twisted. And so sometimes that wickedness can have a connotation of triggering someone, but it's just something that is twisted. You twisted that, and you can only twist something that someone else don't really understand. You can only twist something when they don't have all of the facts or all of the truth of that. You can only twist something when it's not understand fully. And so this one that went out and sowed, but he's sowing these things. And the Mashiach is understanding how when something is sown and then it falls on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receive it with joy. But then it's going to go on and say yet, right? So you can receive, and it's talking about the word of Yah. You can receive those things. Okay, now, again, and where I was trying to interject on tonight for us to put this puzzle together is the fact that when we sowing, if we the one that's sowing, right, if we the one that's sowing, you need to sow the word. The word is what's good, right? So if you're sowing something, you have to be a sower of the word. But in order for you to do that, you have to be a bearer of the word, and then you will produce fruit. Right? You only going to produce the fruit that you have, in that. And then this is going to be challenging here, right? Because I was thinking about this earlier that sometimes in our surroundings, the ones that we can control, if you want to know how people are eating from your fruit, just look at the people that are around you. So hopefully that it is you are basically together in assembly, together with the group. But sometimes we have different people in our group. Look who's around you. Look who you hang out with. Well, let's use that word today. Look who we hang out with, right? They are the ones that should be eating of your fruit, and you are eating from them fruit. We eat from one another's fruit. So if they have bad fruit, then you're going to have a mixture. It's not good. Everybody that we are with or associated with ought to have those good fruit. Now I know we work in different things, so I'm just saying, just on a simple form of being normal, right? And then we can throw in all of those things. Well, where I work at, what I do, and all that. Okay, all of that is there. But what I'm saying is those that are close, that are intimate. Let's use that. Intimate. Your intimate circle is who you are. Now that's going to be challenging, right? But your inner circle is who you are, because you're eating from one another. They're eating from your fruit and you eating from their fruit, right? So if they have fruit of righteousness, it's good fruit, right? And you would do what? You bear more fruit, But if you eating bad fruit, then you got a mixture. If you feel like you got good fruit, or good seed, should I say too, as well. All right, good seed, because we're dealing with seeds, good seeds and good fruit. All right. So you have a mixture there, and it's not good. So when we feeding one another, it should always be good fruit from one another. All right, my brother, you want to jump in there because I know time is running. The clock is always ticking. You can help me to bring it out some more to
Yes,
get to more
sir.
of understanding.
Oh man, I guess that last part is was really really good. It hit home. I guess in the sense of when you were expressing. So when we're out, when we think, how can I say this? When we're doing the word, sowing the word, to have that self-examination moment of the sense of like where your home is or where your feet are most common, like you said, those intimate places,
Hmm.
that's where you should be bearing the most fruit. So when I'm thinking in that sense, like you said, in that place or in that area, it should be more obvious what you've sown. You should you should be able to see it. At least it would be more relevant or prevalent, I should say.
Hmm.
Versus if we just compare this to the outward, the outside world, or to the way places, those places you may not be so often, it's easier, you know, um, to not have that self examination. So that's what I was when you were saying that in the sense of it should be at the house is really what I got out of what you were saying.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
ultimately we're always looking out to the world to cast the seed off to the world, but it should also be at home. It should be at home first. So
Exactly.
I really enjoyed that because I've learned that if your family isn't and your intimate relationships, as you put it, if they're not showing or they're not developing or growing in the process in your house, then that should be your first priority. So when you also broke down about back, it was in Matthew in verse 19 about the lack of understanding. That really hit me because that's totally not what I was looking at all. So that really grabbed me. So essentially, what's sown in your heart, like you were saying, um, if you don't understand what these righteous acts are, if you don't understand what Moshe wrote, I think Messiah said that at the end of John 5, he said, if you don't believe what Moses wrote, how can you believe my words? So if I don't understand these words in order to have them sown in my heart, it makes me vulnerable to attack. And I like that you expose that in the sense of the wicked one. It could even just be my lack of understanding, and
Hmm.
because I failed to understand this, I have usurped all the growth that could come from this good word. Like if I'm being told, guard the Sabbath day, it is a sign between you and me for all generations, and I don't fully understand that, by me failing to truly understand that, then I won't be able to receive or bear fruit in it. And the other behaviors you brought up, like stealing. If I know the scriptures clearly says, "Do not steal, don't steal," but yet if I don't understand that, I may be prone to falling, prone to attack, and thus my heart does not bear the good seed. So I like that what you were saying there in the sense of when we receive the word, it's not just to our ears, it's also for us to do it.
Hmm.
We hear it and do it. And that's what really came out to my heart in that. And it's just whatever comes out of you is the proof of what's in you. So that's what really was when you were talking about examining yourself. And I guess that really just exposes a lot of, I think there's a little bit of a self-deception that can take place because we can change the meaning of words, or we can change the
Right.
understanding of
Right.
words.
Correct.
And if I change the understanding of what the words are or what the seed is, then I can bear fruit of a different seed. And it may not be that righteous seed which is sown, like you were saying, let's keep it
Right.
apples with apples, oranges with oranges. But unfortunately, if I masquerade my plums as if they're peaches, that's gonna be a problem. So I see a lot in what you were saying, and I definitely believe it is a solid word, and it's really hitting me in terms of the sense of, the different types of soil and the different outcomes and what you were expressing there. I think the biggest part I got is, whatever, if you don't understand it, get an understanding, because
Right.
it's not too hard. It's not too hard. Everything that the Most High has said is doable. And I think often we have wicked individuals who don't fully understand that, so yet they try to snatch away the good understanding of Yah's simple, doable word. Like you said,
Hmm.
it's gentle, it's clean, it's peaceable, it's ready to obey. All those good things, those are all doable. We can, it's not too hard. So there is just I guess there, like you said, it could really go on and on and on and on, especially when you start, digging in that chapter. But I believe the point that you were making for us, it came across, and I really want to be a person who gets the understanding. So when you're giving this away, and I'm listening, I guess the understanding I'm perceived now is, to sow the righteous seed, I have to first be exposed to righteousness, and then
Yes,
I
yes.
continue doing that same righteousness to which I was exposed to. Then if I do anything other than that, that behavior needs to be cut off, because
Right.
now I'm bearing a different seed than the one to which was planted.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful.
praise
Okay,
God.
yeah, that's beautiful. And you see, you went in there, tapped into 19. It's so much in there. I could do 19, like you were saying, but also I want to, because we had a couple of what I refer to, I could say we, but what I refer to as a power up moments is. Let me also say this, we in the bonus round, uh, does not understand it. This is why I have mercy. This helps me to produce the fruit of mercy, because when people do different things, even though they hear it, right? They hear what the kingdom is about. They hear the Shabbat, or they hear the Sabbath, right? The problem is sometimes, maybe not all the time, but if you really understood it and you want to follow the things of the Father, then the wicked one cannot come in and snatch it away. Now here's the other thing is, where was it sown at? The word deals with your heart, right? And so it was sown in his heart, right? So you didn't have an understanding. Once you have an understanding about the Shabbat, can't nobody snatch it away from you, because you will know that that's the joy of the Father. You know that Yeshua
Yes.
was the one, right? You know all of the. You will understand that all of the Talmudim, or some would say the disciples, all the emissary, all of them, they kept the Shabbat. They never switched it, right? So if you're not keeping the Shabbat, you can't understand it if you have the seed of the Father, because the seed of the Father told us to keep the Shabbat. Now, a wicked one come around and snatched it away, right? In that, So if you have the real love, other words, when you are in something, sometimes it's just not you don't understand it. Because if you understood it, then you would do it. Once I understood it, then I did it, right? In that. So the same thing with, I'm using the example of stealing. The same thing, once you understand, you fully don't know if you still stealing, and say you walking in the covenant with the Most High, that seed, and I think you said it earlier, that needs to be rooted up. Now, as you go on down, you'll see the wheat and the tare, they grow together, right? But you're gonna have to be one or the other. And that's that's a whole nother thing in that, right? And then it tells you, once the seed was sown in that, because really, we want to be a people, and what the I guess, if you would say my title, or what we are sowing, we want to be a people, I guess, to sow good seed is where I'm going. And this here could, I tell you, Oh man, it really could get real good, and it talks about how it affects us in that. And then maybe one time we just you say do a teaching on this. But I do also want to say this. I didn't heard many of teachings on this as well, and I wouldn't have nothing else profound. But I do want people to understand this. No matter how we use this and how fancy we get, the only way that you know what hearing the word, the only way that you know what rocky places are, the only way that you know what persecution arise and all of that, no matter how fancy we get, you need to know when the thorns and the thorns comes and hears the word. I was gonna say thorns and thistles. I was trying to say that. You know when that comes, right? And understand what chokes it. You need Torah in order to find out what this is. You need to know when this here, when it says, let me see if I can find this real quick. Right here, say we'll use this. And blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. You need Torah to understand what of our forefathers and what we did as a people, what that really meant. And once you go through Torah, you will understand what all of this is about. Said that many prophets and righteous ones, right, and righteous ones long to see this. So that means that we had righteous ones in Torah. See this right here? Righteous ones. They long to see this, right? That means they, of course, they're not longer there, right? And did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. You understand? So that means that they was righteous. So those that walk out Torah is righteous, and it's gonna be righteous, and it was always righteous, right? And in that, and then when it says, "In the heart, for the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing." Now this verse here, and I'm not gonna go too much longer, but what I was trying to say is, no matter how fancy we get with this parable, and I done heard many of them, you need to understand that this right here, we need to search the scriptures from Genesis all the way through to find out what, when it came up, when it says that the people didn't hear, the people didn't obey, the people was stiff necked. You need to find out what the situations was in that. Look at the examples, because those examples are there for us what to do and then what not to do as a people. And so when he said this parable, this wasn't no, something that was way off. They understood when he started out like this, when he's doing his teaching, they understood, and it's totally different in that. Now, all of those things that have been said about this parable, many things can be said. You could take the seed, like I said today, and use different things like I did for as a teaching tool to help us to grow and to understand and to know that we can plant the right seed in that. And so you may be in the watering stage or in that, or you may be one that, because we need oxygen. Some of it, I was looking, my brother, and I put down here what seeds do you need? What is required, right? The first to what seed do you need to grow? What you need is water, you need oxygen, and it has to be the right temperature in order for it to germinate, should I say, right? In that's what you need. And so and I'm talking about a natural seed when you plant that. So what I would do is find out water is number one. That's the reason we have the word. That's what you need, and you need the proper oxygen in that, and the temperature has to be right, right? In that, those are the things that you need to order to break through. So I'm not gonna. I could run with that, but we won't get into that. But I tell you, it would be good for you to look at this again and look at our own life. I guess to get ready to wrap this up, to make sure that we will constantly be consistent and sowing good seed, and you can do it. Right? I encourage you that you can do it. And anything that has been planted can always. Now, how do you get rid of the bad seed? Now, watch this. the good seed, you need the good seed in order to combat the bad seed. So in other words, you need the word. So if I'm one that is stealing, that seed is not good. And so if I continue to that, then I might get somebody to help me steal. So I'm planting the wrong seed, right? In that. And then that takes that when you steal something from somebody, it's more than just taking you taking the possession, but it's more to it behind it, right? And it affects other things in your life. It affects you, you just don't know it, but it affects you. So we won't get there, right? So how do I come against that is I have to make sure I don't steal anymore because that's not my character. So when the opportunity comes, that seed is not planted because that seed is not righteous. And I'm not going to do that. Not, I still, oh, forgive me. No, no, no. Something is wrong there, right? Something is wrong. So what we are trying to get is a more excellent way. The more excellent way is you don't steal. That's the more excellent way. And so it's time out to just stop cradling you, right? So we have but we want you to grow up, right? We want you to grow up, cradling being a baby. We start as a baby and we start at those things. And most times that's what happens. And I get back to Matthew again, but that's what happens. The person don't understand as a babe, right? One of so I'm not going. I could keep going on that one. So, but brother, come on in and slide in those last understanding and those most powerful words that you bring forth, and we'll get ready to close it out here.
Oh, praise God. That was a triumphant little intro right there. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna scoot instead of slide, but no.
Okay, all right, scoot
So
on,
what
scoot
what
on.
you
There's
said,
it.
that was awesome. I'm I'm just excited, and honestly, now I'm intrigued for the extended version because I know you're the Captain Teaser. You got all the teasers out there. I like that. I'm gonna do a teaching on that. That's the best one. Oh man, I praise
Yes,
Yah for
sir.
that because everything that you're laying out, I think is that's one of my favorite things about learning in this and learning in this walk and growing with the Father is because it is about being honest with yourself. And I like what you were saying is like no matter how anyone wants to chop up this verse or expose the nuances here in Matthew 13, because there are a ton of
Mm-hmm.
different areas you could go to. The whole point behind it is in order to understand or to decipher this, I think really to have the the applicable understanding, how to put this into practice, you would have to know where the Messiah was getting these themes and these concepts from. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first one, he's quoting, he said, he's talking about what Isaiah wrote. Well, what Isaiah wrote is talking about what Moses wrote. And
Hallelujah.
so
Hallelujah.
we're,
Yes, sir.
here we
Yes.
are just always going
Mm-hmm.
right back to the beginning. And I just really do understand that when it's all said and done, to be in that image of the Messiah, I'm not justifying my bad seed behavior. Like you were saying, I'm not doing it just to ask for forgiveness. No, I'm putting away these bad ways, these wicked ways, and I'm not justifying. I'm going to act out the commands and bear the good seed to which was sown in me, and then be honest when I don't. And I think that's really the key I can see in this because we can fool ourselves, you know. So I think ultimately what I got out of like that when you brought up the righteous seed remains forever, I just can't shake it. It's just awesome. That's what we're after, Pastor said what he's promised us will remain forever. So obviously his word's eternal. The seed, if righteousness is also remains forever. So there's some sort of congruent nature there. So what I'm gleaning in this is that I took a note on it is that I want to what I want to sow what will remain for whatever forever. Yeah, I want to
Mm-hmm.
sow what
Mm-hmm.
remain forever. So I'm thinking if I'm sowing stealing, if I'm sowing break the Shabbat, if I'm sowing those things, that's what I want to remain forever. I don't think so. So why
Mm-mm.
don't I sow
Mm-mm.
the behavior which the Messiah gave? Let's sow guard the Sabbath. Let's so remember the feast days. Remember the Father's appointed times. Love your neighbor, like according to His Torah.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, He said that we can do it, so that we do it. So I'm really looking into the fact that His Word, His instructions, His Torah, is the good seed to which I can bear every day, as long as there's a breath in my body. So I really want to follow through in this continual process, and I'm powered up in the sense that, like he said, blessed are your eyes because we're seeing and hearing and getting
Hallelujah.
to live out
Yes.
things
Yes.
to which our ancients didn't get to see and didn't get to experience. Here we are having the words of the everlasting King in this world to which we can do forever. And I'm excited because I want it to be that when he examines this fruit tree called me, that he sees his likeness, that he sees his seed, and that he recognizes it. It's still the same seed he sowed, and I want that to be so. And it's just awesome to see that we can do that. I didn't contort it, I didn't pervert it, I didn't distort it. I'm doing the same righteousness that was possible in his day is possible for me today, and I'm just looking forward to continuing in that.
Hallelujah. And I think that's good. And I think I want to, like you said, echo the fact that Torah will bring us to the place that where we need it, you know. So plants grow up and then they produce seeds too, right? And so this is what we do. It says, when he told the Talmudim to go make other, Talmudim, right? So you producing after its kind, So like you were saying earlier, at home, you producing after your kind. So the example is already there, in that. And especially when you have children, as you know, they're individual personalities, as we say. but you producing after your kind. So one of the things that I wanted to where this may have, I always look at say my life and saying I want to know it's like which seed is I'm really producing. Then I can do something about it. The most powerful tool that you have is to be honest with yourself. I done said it many a times, and I think what happens is it is more easier to deceive ourselves, because deception is easily slipped into, instead of just being honest with myself, in that. So if I cut my finger and it start bleeding, and I'm thinking, oh, it's not bleeding, right? I'm deceiving myself. I'm gonna bleed out, right? So I need to do something about it, you know. And it takes a time. If I cut my finger or will cut whatever, it may take a time for the bleeding, if the cut's deep enough, for the bleeding to stop. But I am dying if I don't stop the bleeding. So we have an opportunity to change for the good, and then to develop those habits, those good habits. It's not difficult, it's good habits. And then I surround myself with other apple trees, because we don't, in the same field, we don't want to put two different seeds in the same field, right? Close together. You know what I'm saying? So those I surround myself with is going to be an influence on me, and I will be an influence on them. So what I need to do is take inventory of who I'm really, really being around, right? Being around, because something rubs off somehow in those things. So what somebody is giving you now, you don't have to accept. If somebody's sowing seed, you don't have to accept the seed that they're sowing. And I could go on and on and on. I can only cover so much, and those things may not have not said. then hopefully that the Ruach, we know the Spirit, will be able to interject those things that may not have been said. And that I pray that He has tailor made this for your life, for your understanding, and that's what's important. So the most important part is that you be built up, not so much that I somehow laid it out and just put it out and said some things that nobody else said, but you be powered up. That is my heart. That is my prayer for you. And in order for that to be, that we could continue to put out, even on Power Up, some good seeds, and hopefully those can be able to water. So maybe I watered with some. Maybe we just gave some oxygen. You need that, and hopefully that the temperature was right. And so sometimes, and for all of this to grow or all of this to be in our lives, all of these things have to be in effect in that. And so, um, as we close this, my brother, thank you again from riding along. And I want this to really be something that you could meditate on, and knowing that I want to do some changes in my life, and those bad seeds, I need to get those out. I need to get those out. And so maybe one time in the future, we'll deal with Matthew. But that 13, that'll take me a long time to do that. I never I get through that. That'll be a long time. That's for sure. All right, my brother, we're gonna wrap it up. And shalom to the whole house. If somebody just hanging at, let me see. Every now and then I do this. Somebody give me a thumbs up or something that's still with us. Let me see who's with us. And maybe Sid will give you $100 million. Let's see. I know it's got a little delay. I'm gonna see how many went to sleep on me. We want to see the family there. Who's gonna be first? I just need one. I just need one. Who gonna be first? Who gonna be first? Okay, they running over to it. Are they running to it? Let's see who gonna be first. We'll give them a shout out. I guess everybody went to sleep. All right, we're still waiting. All right, we're gonna close it out while we playing the music. You still have opportunity. You see, it got 100 million. He's ready to write the check. Shalom to the whole house of Israel. Yeah. All right, come on, one. Give me a thumbs up. Come on. You can do it. Do we have a winner? We on a bonus round. See that? They thought we was gone, my brother. They thought we was gone, and I popped back on them. Yeah, I sure did. I sure did. See, everybody sleep. They didn't know we was gonna be there. But they thought we was just gonna this. That was it. They said, "Oh, phew, got away." That they didn't get away. They didn't get away. Just want to come back and just say on this bonus round, just want that all of you will continue to have a fantastic week. But most of all, we want to remember my own brother, Shaq. We want to remember if he's still, maybe they may had a chance to look at this, but we want to pray knowing that in bereavement sometimes are in our hearts. So we want to know that those have had some times in their life in the last several weeks or so here, and that you will be strengthened. And those that are have the challenges that in their bodies on a sometimes in a continual basis as well. Just want to encourage you. It's nothing like someone else holding your hands up. The prayers are always there, but we just want to express our love and a concern for you and all of you that's there. Everybody else that went to sleep, my brother. So we're gonna go ahead and just close it out again. We're gonna try it again. You never know, I might pop back up, huh?